Tata for 2 minutes.
Good evening, friends. How are you today? I hope you have exercised your voting right today and cast your vote wherever you are. Well, friends, today we are going to talk about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and I certainly would love to respond to any question that you have on Dr. Ambedkar. Over the last few years, I have done a lot of work on Dr. Ambedkar, and some of you may not be even aware of fully of the work that I have done. I have written so far as many as 20 books on Dr. Ambedkar. You know, I want to show it to you. First, in 1991, when it was the birth centenary of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, I produced 2 books on Dr. Ambedkar, very small books. First was Economic Thoughts and Philosophy of Dr. Ambedkar. This is that book. Very small book, Economic Thoughts and Philosophy of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And after that, simultaneously I wrote a Marathi book also, त्याचं शीर्षक आहे डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर आर्थिक विचार आणि तत्वज्ञान. These 2 were small books, but the idea was to project Dr. Ambedkar as an economist, because that one aspect of Dr. Ambedkar's life was not fully understood or appreciated even by top economists in our country. Now a lot of people are of course aware, but in the last few years I have written 18 more books on Dr. Ambedkar. 18 more books. First of all, I started with, and these books are in 3 languages, Marathi, English, and even in Hindi. First, what I did was, I put together all the speeches of Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar in 4 languages made 537 speeches. All of them are there scattered everywhere. What I did was to take them from those 22 volumes produced by the government of Maharashtra and divide it by the subjects. And within the subject, they were rearranged according to the theme and properly edited and put it all together in terms of 3 volumes. So an advantage, just to give you an advantage, example of an advantage, Dr. Ambedkar made 6 speeches on democracy. And these 6 speeches were made over a span of 35 years. The first speech that he made on democracy is very different from the speech that he made on democracy toward the end of his life. So when you read his speeches, one particular speech at a particular point of time, you only come to know what he was saying about democracy at that particular point of time. But when you put them all together, not only you understand Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar better, but you also see the evolution of Dr. Ambedkar's thinking over a period of time. So that was the first thing. So 537 speeches. So I wrote, I edited 3 volumes in English, which is called Ambedkar Speaks. And those 3 volumes, I can show you those 3 volumes. These are those 3 volumes on Dr. Ambedkar. Various subjects, properly classified speeches. All the speeches are there in a properly classified manner. After that, I wrote 3 in Marathi, and I called them Bol Mahamanavache. Bol Mahamanavache is the set of all his 500 speeches properly edited in Marathi, and those 3 volumes were created for that. After that, I wrote about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's writings. As you are aware, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar completed 22 books in his life, and great books. Dr. Ambedkar was a genius, multifaceted genius, who wrote on a very diverse kind of subjects. He wrote on economics, he wrote on law, he wrote on sociology, he wrote on politics, he wrote on religion, he wrote on anthropology. There was He was truly a multifaceted personality who wrote on all these subjects and great books, one after the other, great books that he wrote. All those books are very difficult for ordinary people to understand. So what I did was I summarized all those books at two levels. At one level, I have summarized it in a manner that anybody with the 12th standard education should be able to follow. That is one. And second, somewhat advanced readers, something for advanced readers, which is a more detailed summary. Those two volumes, all Baba Saheb Ambedkar's all writings are there in terms of these two volumes, which I call Ambedkar Writes. And same thing is in Marathi, which is called Pradnya Mahamanavachi. Pradnya Mahamanavachi. These are the two books about Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's writings. And then I wrote an intellectual biography of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. First ever intellectual biography. What is intellectual biography? This is the intellectual biography. Get me an English version of that. The intellectual biography of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. This is intellectual biography of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And this is the Marathi version of that intellectual biography of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. As you can see, this is a very big, voluminous book. All of them are very voluminous books. How does the intellectual biography differ from an ordinary biography? In ordinary biography, we write about where he was born, how did he grow up, and then his life, day-to-day life, and so on. That has been done by Dhananjay Keer and by Khair Modi and many others, B.C. Kamble and so many others. What I wanted to do was to focus on how was the mental makeup of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar made, and how did his thinking evolve over a period of time. How did his thinking evolve? How did he take different stands at different stages of his life? That intellectual evolution of this genius, I have tried to make an humble effort to capture in this intellectual biography, which has got rave reviews, and it has been regarded as the second best book of 2014. Those are some of the books. Then of late, I came back a full circle. As I was telling you, I began in 1992 during the birth centenary year of Dr. Ambedkar, writing about Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's economic thoughts and philosophy. But those were small books. Now I have written a full-fledged book on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar as an economist. As you can see, this is Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Economist Extraordinaire. That is the title of this book, and this book has also been released recently. And then some of these books have also been written in Hindi. For the first time, I attempted to write in Hindi as well. So I have now become probably the only writer in our country who writes in 3 languages, Marathi, English, and Hindi. My Hindi was not very good, but after coming to Delhi, it is improved a little bit, and I have tried to write 4 books on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar in Hindi as well. Why did I do that? And after writing these books, the latest ones, I must show you this. This is a wonderful creation that was made. Bombay Municipal Corporation, Bruhan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika, they commissioned me to prepare a masterpiece, a picture book on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. This is a big inside, I'm going to hold it in front of you. This is a massive book, which has, normally what happens is that when there is a picture book, content becomes unimportant. This, to my mind, is the best book on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, because not only this book has all the pictures, and some of them are very rare, but in addition to picture, the content is also very good. And many people, including the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, have said that this is possibly the best book on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. This was released by the Honorable Chief Minister and the Governor of Maharashtra on 14th April 2016. And then they insisted, the Municipal Commissioner of Mumbai, he insisted on my writing English version of that too for international audience. And therefore, on 6th of December 2016, that is barely 2 months back, we released, Chief Minister released this English version of this book. English version of this book was released by the Honorable Chief Minister in presence of the Governor of the Maharashtra. There is a very interesting picture at the back. Please see this picture. This is a photograph of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and please point the finger. Look at the finger. The finger is at the same level as the tower, the Rajabhai Tower, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar as the greatest scholar in our country. It is in the fitness of things that his height, his intellectual height, is that of Rajabhai Tower. That is what I think that picture signifies. So I have been doing fair amount of work on Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and it is a matter of great joy. Because I have always felt that, something interesting I want to tell you. What had happened was sometime back, when there was this incident about Dr. Ambedkar's cartoon and controversy was there, one of the young boy was being interviewed, one who was charged of vandalizing something. And he was asked, it was in Marathi, so that part I have to say in Marathi. त्याला विचारण्यात आलं की तुम्ही बाबासाहेबांची सगळी पुस्तकं वाचलेली आहेत का? तो म्हणाला हो, वाचलेली आहेत ना. ठोकून देत होता तो. मग त्याला त्या बाईने विचारलं, प्रश्नकर्त्या बाईने विचारलं की तुमचं आवडतं पुस्तक कोणतं बाबासाहेबांचं? बाबासाहेबांचं सगळ्यात कठीण पुस्तक जे आहे त्याचं नाव त्याने घेतलं, द प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी. प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी म्हटल्यानंतर ती बाई सुद्धा भारावून गेली. ती म्हणाली, जरा मला सांगाल का हो, हे प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी ह्या ग्रंथामध्ये बाबासाहेबांनी नेमकं काय विषय मांडलेला आहे ते मला तुम्ही सोप्या भाषेत समजावून सांगाल का? आता या पोराने कुठे वाचलेलं होतं, आणि वाचलं असलं तरी त्याला कुठे कळलेलं होतं. पण ते पोरगं बेरकी होतं. त्या पोराने काय उत्तर दिलं माहितीये का? चळवळीतला पोरगा असला पाहिजे. त्याने उत्तर दिलं की ते फार कठीण पुस्तक आहे, ते तुम्हाला सांगितलं तरी कळणार नाही. आता त्याने अशी भूमिका घेतली ती त्याला शोभून दिसली, पण आपण सगळे अशी भूमिका घेऊ शकतो का? माझं आग्रहाचं प्रतिपादन असं आहे की आपण सगळ्यांनी बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांना डोक्यावर घेतलेलं आहे ते योग्यच आहे, पण थोडंसं डोक्यामध्येही घ्या ना. बाबासाहेबांचे विचार जे आहेत ना ते आपण सगळ्यांनी समजावून घेणं आवश्यक आहे. त्यांना केवळ डोक्यावर घ्यायचं आणि जोराने जयभीम बोललं म्हणजे आपलं बाबासाहेबांच्या प्रती आपली श्रद्धा सिद्ध होते असं नाही. बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचे विचार समजावून घेणं आवश्यक आहे, ते विचार आत्मसात करणं आवश्यक आहे, आणि त्या योगे आपल्या आयुष्याला योग्य ते वळण लावणं ही काळाची गरज आहे. हे मला मुद्दाम आग्रहपूर्वक प्रतिपादन करायचं आहे. आता काही प्रश्न मी घेतो आहे. काही प्रश्न इथे आलेले आहेत, मी ते प्रश्न आता घेणार आहे. प्रश्न बरेच आहेत, मी त्याच्याकडे आतापर्यंत दुर्लक्ष केलं होतं, परंतु माझं सुरुवातीचं निवेदन संपलेलं आहे. आता मी प्रश्नांकडे वळतो. प्रभात वंदना सुरटकर से डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर वॉज ब्लेम्ड बाय अरुंधती रॉय दॅट ही वॉज अँटी आदिवासी. व्हॉट वॉज द एक्झॅक्ट व्ह्यू ऑन आदिवासी? Absolutely wrong. I do not agree with Arundhati Roy when she made that statement. That was absolutely incorrect. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar very strongly put out the case for Adivasis, and he always regarded as a shame that in our country, in our civilization, Adivasis have been one of the three sectors which have been completely neglected, and it is a blot on our civilization. So to say that Babasaheb Ambedkar was against Adivasis is a travesty of the truth. Balchandra Shirke is saying, what is new in this book, sir? That you will have to read to understand what is there in this book. Rakesh Gedam is asking, you are role model but for the true Ambedkarite movement. Thank you, Rakesh ji. Thank you very much. Then Ranjeev Kumar is asking, sir, what are the key value we must follow to achieve success in life, which Dr. Ambedkar followed throughout his life and struggle? The best thing is Babasaheb Ambedkar meant what he said, शिका, संघटित व्हा आणि संघर्ष करा. Educate, organize and agitate. That was the message. This was not a slogan for election. That was the message that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar gave, and that message we have to inculcate. Remember how hard he worked to earn the knowledge, and he had this unsatiable urge to acquire more and more and more knowledge. Now that is something that we can learn from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. There are a million things that we can learn from him, but his devotion to the books, his devotion to gathering information, analyzing it intelligently and presenting it is something that was unique, and that is something that we must all emulate. Kunal Ramteke is saying Jai Bhim sir. Yes, of course, Jai Bhim. Rohan Lahu. सगळे जय भीम म्हणतायत, त्या सगळ्यांना माझा जय भीम. सुहास मोरे इज सेइंग, सर तुमच्या जीवनावर चित्रपट येतो आहे, हे खरं आहे का? तो चित्रपट जो आहे तो माझ्या जीवनावर नाही. तुमच्यापैकी अनेकांनी वाचलं असेल की आमचा बाप आणि आम्ही हे पुस्तक मी खूप वर्षापूर्वी लिहिलं. ते केवळ माझं चरित्र नाही, ते माझ्या सर्व कुटुंबियांचं चरित्र आहे आणि ते मी 1993 साली लिहिलं. आणि मला सांगायला विशेष आनंद वाटतो की मराठी साहित्याच्या 800 वर्षाच्या इतिहासातलं ते सर्वाधिक लोकप्रिय पुस्तक आहे. मराठीमध्ये कुठल्याही पुस्तकाच्या आजपर्यंत 100 पेक्षा जास्त आवृत्त्या झालेल्या नाहीत. या पुस्तकाच्या 199 आवृत्त्या झालेल्या आहेत आणि आता 200वी आवृत्ती अभिप्रेत आहे. ती 200वी आवृत्ती ज्यावेळी येईल त्यावेळी या चित्रपटाची घोषणा होईल आणि त्यावेळी सगळा तपशील जाहीर होईल. सध्या मी इतकंच सांगतो की फार उत्तम लोक हा चित्रपट करायला त्यांनी घेतलेला आहे. त्यांनी तयारी त्याची जुळवाजुळव सुरू आहे. त्याला 8 महिने ते एक वर्ष लागू शकेल. आणि त्यातलं मुख्य पात्र जे आहे ते अर्थात माझ्या बापाचं पात्र आहे. आमचा बाप आणि आम्ही हेच त्या पुस्तकाचं नाव आहे. आणि ते मुख्य पात्र जे आहे ते नाना पाटेकर स्वतः करणार आहेत. नाना पाटेकर माझ्या बापाच्या रोलमध्ये असतील. आणि विशेष महत्वाची गोष्ट जी तुम्हाला सांगायची आहे, माझा बाप जरी त्या पुस्तकाचा लौकिक अर्थानं नायक असला तरी त्या पुस्तकाचा खरा नायक, त्या पुस्तकाचा मूक नायक कोण असेल तर ती व्यक्ती म्हणजे परमपूज्य डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर. बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा परिस्पर्श लाभल्यानंतर एका सामान्य माणसाच्या आयुष्यात आलेलं परिवर्तन आणि त्यातून त्याने केलेली असामान्य कार्यसिद्धी याचा लेखाजोखा, याचा आढावा या पुस्तकामध्ये येणार आहे. आणि तो मूवीमध्ये कशा प्रकारे, चित्रपटामध्ये कशा प्रकारे व्यक्त होईल ते आता आपल्याला थोडं थांबावे लागेल, थोडीशी वाट पाहावी लागेल. लक्ष्मण थोरात इज आस्किंग हु इज द ग्रेटर लीडर, Gandhiji or Ambedkar? Tell me, sir, your opinion. This is a political question. In my opinion, both of them, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, were great leaders and they had their own strength. And lot of people in our country take extreme positions either in favor of Mahatma Gandhi or in favor of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. My position is that both of them were great leaders. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, to my mind, was the greatest leader, and there is no doubt in my mind about it. However, please do not undermine the great contribution of Mahatma Gandhi as well, because please do not understand. Please note that although the extreme positions are taken, and although Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi fought with each other on many occasions, there was some common meeting ground in between. And please understand that who gave opportunity to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar to work on the Constitution? Who gave him an opportunity to become the first law minister of our country? It was none other than Mahatma Gandhi. So let's not take any extreme position. Both of these great people, they had great conflict and they fought with each other, but they both knew that nation was bigger than each one of them taken in isolation. And there is a lot of middle ground to see You should not look at this issue in terms of black and white. There are many shades of gray in between black and white. Akshay Asha Bhagwat Bhosle says, Jai Bhim sir, my question is why almost all front leaders joining or doing alliance with BJP and Congress? Is it Baba Sahib's vision? No, that is not Baba Sahib's vision at all. But this is a political question. I am not a politician. I am a member of parliament who does not belong to any political party. I keep myself equidistant from all political parties, and therefore you should ask this question to those who are in the active politics. Manoj Khandagale is asking, sir, माझा पुण्यात व्यवसाय आहे, परंतु कधी कधी व्यवसाय करताना देखील कास्ट पाहिली जाते, त्यावेळी मी काय केले पाहिजे? हे पहा, ज्या वेळी तुम्हाला असा प्रश्न येईल त्यावेळी असा विचार करायचा की तुमच्या जागी डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर असते तर ते कसे वागले असते याचा विचार करायचा. त्यांच्या चरित्राचा जर तुम्ही अभ्यास केला असेल तर तसा विचार करून, माझ्या आयुष्यात तर मी हेच केलेलं आहे, ज्यावेळी मोठी समस्या आलेली आहे त्यावेळी मी असा विचार केलेला आहे की बाबासाहेब जर माझ्या जागी असते तर त्यांची प्रतिक्रिया काय झाली असती, त्यांनी कशा प्रकारे याला प्रतिसाद दिला असता, या समस्येचं निराकरण करण्याचा कसा प्रयत्न केला असता, असा ज्यावेळी मी स्वतःला प्रश्न विचारतो त्यावेळी मला आपोआपच उत्तर मिळत गेलेलं आहे. आतापर्यंत तरी तसं झालेलं आहे. प्रभात वंदना सुरटकर इज ते झालंय आपलं. तुषार राम गुडे इज डू यू हॅव अ बुक ऑन बुद्धिस्ट इकॉनॉमी? नो, आय डू नॉट हॅव अ बुक ऑन बुद्धिस्ट इकॉनॉमी, बट इन कोर्स ऑफ टाइम I certainly will write a book on Buddhist economics. There was one book on Buddhist economics written by some European person. I think the name of the book was Small is Beautiful, and the author was Professor Schumacher. And in his beautiful small book, there is one chapter on Buddhist economics, which I think is very, very interesting. Nitin Mukund Gaikawad is saying, congratulations, great work, sir. Vandana Suradkar, Prabhat Vandana Suradkar is saying, I have read the intellectual biography, good, but more people should read it. And Manoj Khandagale is asking, sir, I request please speak in Marathi about Baba Sahib Ambedkar, please. तुम्ही प्रश्न विचारा मराठीमध्ये, मी त्याचं मराठीमध्ये उत्तर देतो. तुषार रामगुंडे सर, वेअर कॅन आय गेट दिस बुक? तुम्हाला माझी मराठी प्रकाशन हवी असतील, माझं इंग्रजी प्रकाशन जे आहे ते दिल्लीमध्ये आहे. दे आर कोनार्क पब्लिशर्स इन दिल्ली. अँड मराठीची माझी जी पुस्तकं आहेत, मराठी भाषेमध्ये लिहिलेली पुस्तकं आहेत, ती सगळी तुम्हाला ग्रंथालयाकडून मिळू शकतील. ती सगळी मुंबईतल्या ग्रंथालय या संस्थेने छापलेली आहेत. तुषार सर, वेअर कॅन आय? कुडोज टू युअर वर्क सर, थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच तुषार. भागवत क्षीरसागर, आपण एवढं साहित्य कसं लिहिलं सर? अहो, मी वेडा माणूस आहे. तुम्हाला वेळ असावं लागतं. जी गोष्ट तुम्हाला साध्य करायची आहे तिच्या मागे झपाटल्यासारखं लागल्याशिवाय एवढं लिहून होत नाही. माझ्या एकूण पुस्तकांची संख्या, आतापर्यंतच्या पुस्तकांची संख्या 37 आहे. आणि ही पुस्तकं म्हणजे काही लोक 50 पानाच्या पुस्तिका लिहितात आणि त्याला ग्रंथ म्हणतात. माझ्या सगळी पुस्तकं 300 पानापेक्षा मोठी आहेत. 300 ते 500 पानांची आहेत. एक तर 650 पानांचं आहे. ही सगळी 37 पुस्तकं, त्याचबरोबर 300 शोधनिबंध, वेगवेगळ्या विषयावरचे 31 अहवाल, इन्क्लुडिंग शेतकरी आत्महत्यांचा महाराष्ट्र शासनासाठी लिहिलेला अहवाल, आणि रिझर्व्ह बँकेच्या वेगवेगळ्या गव्हर्नरशी, मनमोहन सिंगांपासून डॉक्टर रेड्डींपर्यंत सगळ्या गव्हर्नरांची अनेक लिहिलेली भाषणं, एवढा मोठा लेखनपट माझा आहे. मला असं वाटतं की माझ्याकडून बऱ्यापैकी लिहून झालेलं आहे, परंतु माझं लिहिणं अजून संपलेलं नाही. अजूनही मी लिहित राहणार आहे आणि आणखी बरंच काही लिहायचं बाकी आहे. Kapil Gaikawad is saying, sir, why did Mahatma Gandhi ask the Muslim League not to support Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? Oppose for a separate electorate for us? Very good question, Kapil. What had happened was, the issue there was, should there be independent electorates for Dalits, or there should be joint electorates for Dalits? This was the issue. in the second roundtable conference in 1931, initially Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was in support of the joint electorates. You'll be surprised. However, he changed his position before going to the second roundtable conference. In the second roundtable conference, there was an acrimonious exchange, a debate between Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And they spoke to each other, fought with each other in a very, very bitter manner. It is impossible to believe that Mahatma Gandhi could talk the way he did, and it is very difficult to imagine the way Babasaheb Ambedkar spoke. And all this is recorded. The issue was Mahatma Gandhi wanted joint electorates. Dr. Ambedkar wanted independent, separate electorates for Dalits. Mahatma Gandhi was willing to give separate electorates for Christians. He was willing to give separate electorates to Sikhs. He was willing to give separate electorates to Muslims. But he was not willing to give separate electorates to Dalits, because he thought that that would divide the Hindu majority in our country, and there would be street fights at the level of villages. So after a lot of debate, during that debate, Babasaheb Ambedkar later wrote in 1948, when he wrote his big book called What Congress and Gandhi Have Done to Untouchables. In that book, Dr. Ambedkar has made an allegation that while this debate was going on, Mahatma Gandhi had gone privately to Aga Khan, who was the leader of the Muslims then, the leader of the Muslim delegation to the Roundtable Conference, and he tried to persuade him that I will agree to all your demands, but you support me with all the Muslim representatives, you support me to oppose Dr. Ambedkar's demand. This is the history, but interestingly, the latter part of the history is very, very interesting. After a lot of debate, they finally decided that the final decision should be left over to the British government, the Prime Minister of Britain. Ramsay MacDonald was the Prime Minister. So the final decision was given, authority to take the final decision was given to him, and all of them gave in writing, Mahatma Gandhi included, everybody gave in writing that we will abide by whatever decision that the British government takes. And Babasaheb Ambedkar did not give that in writing, but Gandhiji did. Gandhiji was completely convinced that he was a national leader, therefore the verdict is going to go in his favor. Several months afterwards, both of them came back. Several months afterwards, when the verdict came, that is called communal verdict, communal award it was called, it went completely in favor of Dr. Ambedkar and against Mahatma Gandhi. At that time, Mahatma Gandhi was in Yerwada jail. In the jail, when he learned this news, he was very angry, very agitated, and then he announced fast until death. Mahatma Gandhi went on fast unto death 3 times. Twice it was against the British government, and once against an individual, and that individual was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. So a lot of things happened. The whole country turned against Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and he was called a traitor, and all the things, bad things were said about him. He was under a lot of pressure, and finally Babasaheb Ambedkar gave in and he agreed. He was forced by people to withdraw his demand. Just imagine that he makes a demand in the British Parliament that is accepted by them, and now Mahatma Gandhi was putting pressure on him to withdraw the demand so as to go for joint electorates. So there was a lot of parley of discussions, and finally Babasaheb Ambedkar gave in, and he said in his speech at that time when the reconciliation was done that I was in a great dilemma, and on one hand the life of Mahatma was in my hand, and on the other hand I had to protect the future of my own people, and finally I have agreed with this compromise, and that compromise is called Pune Karar, or the Pune Pact of 1932. In my opinion, all the problems that we are having politically now, they go back to our signing the Pune Pact. Because had the separate electorates been given to us, our future, I think political future would have been different. But that is a political issue. I do not want to go into that. Nishant Wagmare is asking question. RSS बद्दल तुमची भूमिका काय सर? स्पष्ट सांगा सर. RSS बद्दल माझी काहीही भूमिका नाही. आणि RSS बद्दल माझी भूमिका असायचं तुमची माझी प्रत्येकाची प्रत्येक गोष्टीबद्दल भूमिका असते तशीच माझी भूमिका आहे. RSS ही सांस्कृतिक संघटना आहे तसा त्यांचा दावा आहे आणि माझा त्यांच्याशी डायरेक्टली काहीही संबंध नाही. पुणे कराराबद्दल आपले मत काय आहे? सध्या स्थितीत दलितांना स्वतंत्र मतदारसंघाची गरज आहे का? पुणे कराराबद्दल मी आता विस्तारानं बोललेलो आहे. मला असं वाटतं की पुणे करारामुळे आपलं फार मोठं नुकसान झालेलं आहे. आपण कुठल्याही परिस्थितीमध्ये निवडणूक जिंकू शकत नाही. याचं कारण म्हणजे बऱ्याचदा त्याचं कारण पुणे करार हे असतं, कारण आपलं कुठल्याही मतदारसंघामध्ये जिंकण्या इतकी मेजॉरिटी आपल्याकडे फार कमी ठिकाणी असते. त्यामुळे आपल्याला इतरांची मदत घेतल्याशिवाय जिंकता येत नाही. हे आपलं दुखणं आहे आणि ते पुणे करारापासून सुरू झालेलं आहे दुर्दैवानं. अनुप डोंगरे म्हणतात सर आम्ही डॉक्टरांना काय सजेस्ट कराल? आम्ही डॉक्टरांना जेणेकरून बाबासाहेबांचा विचार आणि तुमचं मत आम्ही पुढे नेऊ. सगळ्यात महत्वाची गोष्ट अनुपजी, तुम्ही फार महत्वाचा प्रश्न विचारलेला आहे. सगळ्यात महत्वाची गोष्ट म्हणजे बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी लिहिलेलं आणि बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांच्या बद्दल त्यांच्या विचाराबद्दल माझ्यासारख्यानी लिहिलेलं याचा तुम्ही कसून अभ्यास करणं अत्यंत आवश्यक आहे. आपण सगळेजण बाबासाहेबांना डोक्यावर घेतो ते योग्यच आहे, परंतु केवळ डोक्यावर घेऊन होणार नाही, डोक्यामध्ये घेतलं पाहिजे. ही माझी भावना आहे, ही माझी भूमिका आहे. मी कित्येकदा पाहतो की महाराष्ट्र शासनाने काढलेले 22 खंड लोक भक्तिभावानं विकत घेतात आणि बाबासाहेबांच्या फोटोजवळ किंवा भगवान बुद्धाच्या मूर्तीजवळ ते ठेवतात, परंतु त्याला नमस्कार सुद्धा करतात, त्याला जयभीम सुद्धा करतात, मात्र ते वाचण्याची तस्ती घेत नाहीत. तर ते त्यांना वाचणं सुकर व्हावं म्हणून तर मी हे 20 ग्रंथ लिहिलेले आहेत. मला असं वाटतं तुम्हाला जे शक्य होईल ते वाचण्याचा प्रयत्न करा, त्याच्यावरती विचार करायचा प्रयत्न करा आणि त्यातून तुम्हाला तुमच्या सगळ्या समस्यांना मार्ग सापडू शकेल असं मला वाटतं. धनंजय कांबळे असं म्हणतायत सर बाबासाहेब नेव्हर कॉल्ड गांधीजी ॲज महात्मा. वाय डू यू कॉल गांधी ॲज महात्मा? बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी महात्मा गांधींना त्यांचं एकदा जोरदार भांडण झालं त्यावेळी पासून त्यांनी महात्मा म्हणायचं नाकारलं. पण तुमच्या माहितीसाठी सांगतो की 1917 साली ज्यावेळी इंग्लिश in 1917 when Babasaheb Ambedkar 1927 when Babasaheb did his first mass movement in terms of the Mahadsa Satyagraha, the Satyagraha that he did for water at Saudar tank in Mahad. Do you know that in the first procession which was drawn for that Satyagraha, there was only one photograph that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar had kept in the procession. And for your information, that photograph was Mahatma Gandhi's photograph. He was asked about it. Why did you do it? Afterwards, when they fought. So he said, Babasaheb Ambedkar said, that when nobody was taking side of Dalits, Mahatma Gandhi was the one who started taking the side of Dalit, and that is why I honored him. So let us not forget that Mahatma Gandhi is the father of our nation and he was undisputed leader of the freedom struggle of our country. So if we want to call him Mahatma Gandhi himself had said the real Mahatma is only one, and that is Mahatma Phule, and I cannot disagree with Mahatma Gandhi there. Aniruddha Jadhav, Sir Gandhi ha जातीयवादी होता. You are entitled to have your own opinion, but या विषयावरती बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर आणि महात्मा गांधी यांच्यामध्ये झालेला वादविवाद तुम्ही पहा. बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी 1936 साली अनाहिलेशन ऑफ कास्ट किंवा जाती निर्मूलन हा ग्रंथ लिहिला, ज्या ग्रंथामध्ये जाती व्यवस्थेची त्यांनी फार उत्तम मीमांसा केलेली आहे. त्याच्यावरती उत्तर म्हणून महात्मा गांधींनी त्याच्यावरती फार टीका करणारे लेख लिहिले. त्याचं उत्तर डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी दिलेलं आहे आणि हे सगळं त्या पुस्तकामध्ये छापलेलं आहे. म्हणजे महात्मा गांधींनी केलेली टीका आणि बाबासाहेबांनी दिलेलं उत्तर, त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला एक लक्षात येईल की बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी, महात्मा गांधींनी स्वतः वर्णाश्रम व्यवस्थेला पाठिंबा दिला होता. त्यांचं म्हणणं असं होतं की यात गैर काय आहे, ही श्रमांची विभागणी आहे, दिस इज नथिंग बट डिव्हिजन ऑफ लेबर. त्याला उत्तर देताना बाबासाहेब म्हणाले आहेत की श्रमांची विभागणी नाही, श्रमांच्या विभागणीवर सुपरइम्पोज केलेली ही श्रमिकांची विभागणी आहे. म्हणजे जिथे ब्राह्मणाचा मुलगा कितीही नालायक असला तरी त्याचा पौरोहित्याचा अधिकार काढून घेतला जात नाही, त्या उलट एखाद्या महारामांगाचा मुलगा तो आईन्स्टाईन इतका बुद्धिमान असला तरी त्याला हलकी सलकी कामं करूनच आयुष्य कंठावं लागतं. ही श्रमांची विभागणी नाही, ही श्रमिकांची विभागणी आहे, असं उत्तर देऊन बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी महात्मा गांधींना पूर्णपणे निरुत्तर करून टाकलेला आहे. आणि हा इतिहास आहे तो तुम्ही जाणून घ्या. सौरभ शिंदे इज आस्किंग, सर डोंट यू थिंक we lack strong political leaders? Yes, I entirely agree with you. We have too many leaders, and as a Dalit force, as the Dalit political force at a national level has not been created. We have far too many leaders, and they keep on fighting with each other. All of them are individually very good people. I know all of them. I'm friendly with all of them. However, I think that we have failed to create a unified Dalit force. Nationwide Dalit force has not been created. So much strength that we have in terms of numbers, in terms of our share in population. Do we get that kind of share in the results when they come out? Election results, at every level of elections. Where are we? Many of our leaders think that they are national leaders, great leaders. How many seats they have got? Out of the total seats, even in small municipal corporation election or Jilla Parishad elections, what is the share? What is the share of the seats won by us? I feel very sad that the share is very, very small. So we have to look bigger, we have to think bigger, and we have to work towards creating a larger, unified, nationwide Dalit force. Must get the seats at all levels commensurate with our share in the population. We are not getting that right now because we are divided and we are aligned to different political parties. Umesh Bansode is saying, what is your opinion about privatization and what will happen to reservation and opportunities for Dalits? I'm a supporter of economic reforms. And as far as the reservation is concerned, I have always been and will always be supporter of reservation. Reservations, nothing is going to happen to reservation. If somebody is spreading some kind of rumors to create fear in your mind that reservations are going to go, please do not listen to them. Nobody can touch our reservations. Nobody can ever take away our reservations. And how long reservations should continue? Why are the reservations needed? Reservations are needed because of the innate inability of our system to be just and fair. If the system is just and fair, we don't need reservation. But as long as the system remains unjust and unfair, we need reservations. Not only we need reservations, I am championing the cause that the reservations must be extended to the private sector as well. Where are the jobs being created? Not in the public sector. They are mostly created in private sector. And what is private about private sector? The land that they get, is that the fully paying market price? The tax concessions that they get? How private is private when you look at the economic aspect of this? And therefore, I am of the view that private sector reservation policy is required in our country, and we must fight for that. There is one big industrialist has said that if privatization is applied to his private sector industry, he will take it away abroad. my suggestion to him is take it away. We don't need you. Reservation is the order of the day. It has to be, not only reservation should be applied to private sector, but we need to implement the reservation very faithfully in the letter and spirit of the Constitution. And you and me, all of us have to be very vigilant watchdogs to make sure that the reservation policy is properly implemented. In all bureaucracies, there are n number of different ways that they have to bypass. Nobody knows how to bypass the laws better than we Indians. So you have to be a watchdog and make sure that the reservation policy is implemented in letter and spirit. Just having the provision is not enough. Protecting it and implementing it in the letter and spirit is the order of the day, for which everybody has to work hard. And don't be guided by your own personal problem. You have to look at systemic problem. समाजाच्या एकंदरीत हिताच्या दृष्टीनं त्याचा विचार केला पाहिजे आणि त्यासाठी संघर्ष केला पाहिजे असं मला वाटतं. अनूप डोंगरे, नक्की सर, नक्की तुमच्या ग्रंथांपैकी एक तरी नवीन विचार आणि तुम्ही जे सांगितले ना ते नक्की डोक्यामध्ये आणू. थँक्यू सो मच सर. विशाल ओहाळ इज आस्किंग व्हॉट अबाउट काँग्रेस. व्हॉट अबाउट काँग्रेस, मी तुम्हाला विचारतो ना काँग्रेसबद्दल काय. व्हॉट अबाउट काँग्रेस म्हणजे काय. धनंजय कांबळे, तुमचा प्रश्न मला परत सांगा. व्हॉट अबाउट काँग्रेस मी तुम्हाला काय म्हणायचं आहे. व्हॉट इज युअर क्वेश्चन, प्लीज डू टेल मी. Dhananjay Kamble in the meantime is saying that, sir, I believe Mahatma as Phule only. Sir, I need reference of Baba Saheb carrying portrait of Gandhi in Mahad Satyagraha. You will find that in Dhananjay Keer's book, for your information. मी तुम्हाला पेज नंबरही सांगू शकेन, माझ्याकडे ते पुस्तक आहे कुठेतरी. बट यू विल सी दॅट इट इज देअर. आणि माझ्या पुस्तकामध्ये सुद्धा मी उल्लेख केलेला आहे आणि बाबासाहेबांचे ते उद्गार पण मी उद्धृत केलेले आहेत. ही सेड दॅट at the time when nobody was looking at social issues, here was one man who did, and that is why I supported, and that is why I kept his portrait there. But this is something you will find in any book. You can find it Khairmode, you can find it Dhananjay Keer. If you don't find it, come back to me. Vinod Zadhav, sir, did you suggest to Narendra Modi about the change of currency? Well, I have been working with the government, but I cannot say that I suggested to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi about the demonetization. But I have been working closely with the government on that. Shubham Athawle, नहीं आप बहुत नीचे गए. Sagar Shinde, RBI was conceptualized as per guidelines, working style and outlook by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in his book The Problem of Rupee and presented to Hilton Young Commission. So what is your question? What is your question here? My answer is yes and no. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar gave a very important testimony before the Hilton Young Commission in 1926. And that testimony is one of the most important testimony. And the stories which are spread by Dhananjay Keer and others that everybody in that Hilton Young Commission was carrying copy of his book, that's all nonsense. Absolutely not true. In any case, the book that he said they were carrying had nothing to do with RBI. That was a book on the provincial finances in British India, not on the problem of rupee. But Babasaheb Ambedkar gave a very, very important testimony. And for your information, here is the shocking thing. That testimony was not available in the government records. And one day, my old friend Kalakathit Vasanta Moon came to me and I took him to the archives of the Reserve Bank of India, and whole day in the dusk we made a thorough search, and by the evening we finally located that testimony, and that testimony I gave it to the government, and that is published in volume 5 of the Maharashtra government books on Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Arvind Rathod is saying, how can we make our people aware and strong enough against casteism? How can form a practical unity of our people on one ideology, that is Ambedkar's ideology? I believe, Arvind, that we have only one leader, and that leader is Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And nobody comes anywhere close to it. Anybody who claims to come close to it is either fooling himself or he doesn't understand what he is doing. Even if Baba Sahib is not there, Baba Sahib's thoughts are all there. They are, his thoughts on various subjects can guide us forever. So we don't need any leader. What we need is somebody who interprets Baba Sahib Ambedkar, somebody who explains Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and what is required on everybody's part is to read that. मगाशी मी म्हटलं, तुम्ही नव्हतात बहुतेक, मगाशी मी असं म्हटलं की आपण डोक्यावरती घेतो बाबासाहेबांना, ते अत्यंत योग्य आहे, परंतु थोडंसं आपण डोक्यातही घेतलं पाहिजे ना, त्याची गरज आहे. ते जर घेतलं तर आपले सगळे प्रश्न सुटू शकतात. श्याम मोरे इज सेइंग, सर वेटिंग फॉर युअर ओपिनियन फॉर आवर यंग यूथ. विनोद जाधव इज आस्किंग, बाबासाहेब यांची जयंती कशी सेलिब्रेट केली पाहिजे ज्याने लोक जागृती चांगल्या रीतीने होईल. व्हेरी गुड क्वेश्चन विनोद. माय आन्सर इज दॅट बाबासाहेबांची जयंती करताना आपण we should celebrate Jayanti of Dr. Babasaheb, Parampuja Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar by discussing his thoughts, by discussing his philosophy. We have many very good speakers. You should have discussion about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's thought and their relevance to the current problems. If we do that, it would be, I think, very helpful for enriching our community, creating awareness among our people, especially among the youth. We as parents are failing to take the thoughts of Babasaheb Ambedkar to our youth. Saying Jai Bhim is good, but not good enough. Saying Jai Bhim loudly does not make you stronger Ambedkarite. What makes you strong Ambedkarite and a true Ambedkarite is to analyze, to understand, and change your life in the manner in which Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar envisioned life for all of us. He was the one who made us human beings. Our parents gave us biological birth, but it was Babasaheb Ambedkar who made us human beings. Let's be proper human beings by following that Mahamanav, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. There is I'll take fresh questions. There are some questions here. Sumit Kataria, sir, kindly tell me something about Ambedkar's educational efforts of nation building. Tell me the books related to education and Ambedkar. Babasaheb Ambedkar, I don't understand this question fully, but
he's asking what is Ambedkar's vision of nation building and what is his
Babasaheb Ambedkar's vision of nation building
or concept of nation
building. That comes very clearly in all his writings. Basically, what Dr. Ambedkar wanted, for Dr. Ambedkar, it was not getting freedom, getting independence, was only the first step. That step was necessary but not sufficient. Please look at the speech that Babasaheb Ambedkar delivered on 25th November 1949. That was one day before the Constituent Assembly accepted our constitution. 2 months thereafter, we became republic. That is the best piece of writing by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and he has given one very strong warning to all of us. You know what he says? He says something to this effect. He said, what we have got is political democracy. But we are going to enter on 26 January 1950. We are going to enter into a life of contradiction. We will have equality in politics, but inequality in social and economic life. In politics, we will have one person, one vote, one value. On the other hand, in social and economic sphere, we will continue to have inequality. Then he said, how long? How long are we going to continue this life of contradiction? we must put an end to it at the earliest possible moment, or those who suffer from inequality will blow the structure of our constitution, which this constituent assembly has so laboriously built. You know what is the meaning of this? That what we achieved in 1947 and in 1950, when we became republic, was political democracy. This political democracy has to be converted into social and economic democracy. If we do not do that, we may not be able to sustain even the political democracy that we have. Remember, this is a great warning that he gave, and that should guide us. That gives his vision to convert the political democracy into social and economic democracy. And Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar incorporated in part 4 of Indian Constitution, he incorporated directive principles of state policy. The directive principles of state policy are the most important part of the vision of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar enshrined in the Constitution, which directs every government, no matter who is in power, that doesn't matter. Whomsoever is in power, the governing principles would be in the directive principles of state policy. But he made one exception. He said that all governments, irrespective of who is in power, they must follow those directive principles, but he gave a latitude, he gave a flexibility. Because the resources are limited, and there are many imponderables, he said that over a period of time, all these must be implemented, and the government should follow this over a period of time. Now take the example. In 1950, in the directive principles, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar said that there must be free and good quality education for everybody in the age group of 6 to 14, right? He said that as a part of the directive principles of state policy in 1950. How long did we take to implement that? 60 years. The Right to Education Act was made in the year 2010. And even now, after 7 years of that act, we have still not fully implemented that. So there is a great vision which is readily available, and what we need is effective and faithful implementation. That is where sometimes we are lacking. Rajendra Randhir is saying, thoughts on linguistic states, mentions of new states with Ranchi and Raipur as capitals, and China waging a war with India. Why is the vision of Dr. Ambedkar not conveyed to the masses? No, these two are separate issues. But I'm glad, very glad, Rajendra Randhir, you have asked a very good question. This is an aspect about which very little is known. Let me explain to you what happened. In 1955, there was a report that came. The chairman of that committee was Fazal Ali. Fazal Ali Commission's report, as it is called. And they came out with a formula. They said that there should be principle of one language, one state. Now it looks very simple and obvious and appealing. One language, one state. It looks perfectly all right. Dr. Ambedkar was very angry. He said, completely wrong. This is completely wrong. He said it should not be one language, one state. It should be one state, one language. Now you will ask, what is the difference? One language, one state, as Fazal Ali was saying and accepted by Pandit Nehru, and what Dr. Ambedkar was saying, one state, one language. He said that the way the languages are spoken in our country, going by this principle of Fazal Ali, one language, one state would mean that in the north part of India, there would be fewer states but of large size. Whereas in South India, there would be many states of small size. And this will create imbalance between north and south. It can even create a rift, a fight between North India and South India. On the other hand, he said you should have one language, one state, one language. In other words, he suggested that the state should be broken up. He made 3 suggestions specifically. Not only on paper, he actually drew the maps. Can you imagine? he drew the maps to say that Central Province and Berar should be divided into two states. That happened in 2002, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Then he had suggested Bihar should be broken up into two. That also happened in 2002. Bihar was broken into Jharkhand and Bihar. But third suggestion that he had made has still not been done. That was trifurcation of Uttar Pradesh. He said Uttar Pradesh should be divided into three different states. And he drew maps also how it can be done. So that was his great vision. So, when you look at it, you realize what a great vision that he had. And his vision was truly a national vision. So when some people regarded him as the leader of Dalits, I feel very sad. Of course he was the leader of Dalits. Of course he was the savior of Dalits. But he was not limited to being leader of Dalits alone. He was truly a national leader. National leader par excellence, no less than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, no less than Mahatma Gandhi. He was truly a national leader, and I feel very strongly that we as a nation have done irreparable damage to ourselves by not recognizing Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar as a national leader, by not including him in the pantheon of the Indian national leaders. Look at all our textbooks. Do you find references? And you will find rarely if ever song and dance and kit about Mahatma Gandhi and about Jawaharlal Nehru. You will find it's all right. They were great national leaders too, of course. But what about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? Why do we not find him in the textbooks? And when we do find him in the textbook, invariably he is referred to as a leader of Dalits, of a section of society, not as a national leader. This is a grave injustice. Babasaheb Ambedkar was a national leader, period. He was a national leader par excellence. He was a national leader who had a great vision about this nation. And he was the one who said for the first time that I'm first Indian, I'm Indian in the end, and nothing but an Indian in the interregnum. So I will repeat this. You should write it on your board there. It was Babasaheb Ambedkar, nobody else, who said, I am first Indian, I am Indian in the end, and nothing but Indian in between. So he was the one who had the virtues of nationalism of the highest possible order. And to confine him to a community leader, to confine him to a leader of Dalits, a messiah of Dalit alone, is doing injustice to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Now that we know more and more about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, I think we must spread this message. Take the case of economics. Who is the greatest economist of our country? Not Amartya Sen. I have gone on record as an economist. The greatest economist that our country has generated is none other than Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And until recently, we were not even recognizing him as an economist. What a travesty of justice that we have. But this has to change, and it's only you and me together can change this. Amol Ingole is saying, why Ambedkarite movement not successful in Maharashtra like Uttar Pradesh, Kancharamji formed government? Political question. I'm not a politician, boss, so avoid asking me those questions. Aniruddha Dadav is saying that आपल्या देशातले खरे महात्मा फुले होत. मी पूर्णपणे त्याच्याशी सहमत आहे. Nanta Sumit Kharat, will you take initiative to start unified Dalit force? Sumit, many people have expressed that desire, but quite frankly, I don't think I can. The age is not on my side, and that is not within my capability to take leadership role, and I don't have any vision to become a political leader at the Dalit force. I don't think I'm capable of doing that. I know my limitations. I'm going to do best with what I have rather than dream about creating a nationwide Dalit force. Somebody else should do that, and I would be wholeheartedly willing to support anybody who is honest to the core and one who is completely committed and one who is not sold out for money or for power to anybody. If there is a person who is coming forward to that like that, I would be wholeheartedly willing to support that person. Dhananjay Kamble says, sir, our leader get killed like Rohit Vemula is killed by ABVP and BJP, or they change their idea and join caste forces like Congress, BJP, Shiv Sena, etc. I'm not clear about this, and this is again a political question. No, this is done. Sir, what I want to say, he fought, Prabhat Vandana Sudhakar is saying, sir, that is what I want to say. He fought on every ground. He fought on every ground as an Indian, but he is undervalued by binding him with Dalits. His contribution to infrastructure, economic. I have said this. In fact, not many people realize that he was not only a great economist, great scholar who wrote masterpieces on economics, he was also a very practical economic administrator. In the British government, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar joined as a minister. He was a minister in the British government. Some people now would have asked, how did he serve the British government? But see what he achieved. You know, this is what sometimes people don't understand. You have to understand the strategy of the great man. He joined the British government against Mahatma Gandhi, when precisely at the time when Mahatma Gandhi launched Chale Jao, Quit India movement, July 1942. Within 15 days, British government decided to accept some of the Indians as ministers. One of them was Dr. Ambedkar, and he did that. He did that, and he opposed Quit India movement. He joined the British government as a minister. Many people can question that, but see what he achieved. As a minister, what was his portfolio? In the British government, his portfolio was labor and employment, skill development. Labor and employment, skill development, water management, minerals management, PWD. You know, all this was, and labor ministry was the main one. He was called labor member. They did not call it minister. It was not called the ministry. It was called Viceroy's Executive Council. And the members were called, ministers were called members of that council. Dr. Ambedkar had this wide portfolio, and in every area, see the great work that he has done. By the way, electricity was also with him. Today, that portfolio has become 15 ministries. He had all that together. First thing, who started the labor law reforms in our country? It was Babasaheb Ambedkar. For example, he was the one who reduced the working hours of industrial labor from 12 hours to 8 hours. That happened in India for the first time under the British rule, initiated by Dr. Ambedkar. Then, who came up with the idea of maternity leave? All those labor reforms that we see now, they were all started by Dr. Ambedkar. Okay, who started the employment exchanges in our country? We know about employment exchanges, but we don't know. The father of Indian employment exchanges was Babasaheb Ambedkar. Who started the skill development in our country? Now today there is a big talk about Skill India movement and all that. The first person who started the skill development in our country was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar as the minister in the British government. Then there is a lot of talk about connecting the rivers. Who talked about first connecting the rivers and tried that actually in a small way about Mahanadi in Bihar? It was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Who set up the Central Water Commission, which is still functional? It was none other than Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Who wrote the first policy of minerals policy of Government of India? It was none other than Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. So when you look at all this contribution, and he did that as a British, as a member of the British, as a minister in the British cabinet. Now a lot of people can question that. Why did he go against and join the British, who were ruling our country and exploiting our people and our nation? He did that as a strategy and succeeded in delivering outcomes. So sometimes when we look at issues purely emotionally, think about what that position is going to entail for the betterment of the society as a whole. That is what Dr. Ambedkar was for, and that is what he very successfully did. Amol Ingre is asking, sir, Dr. Ambedkar started firm to give advice on stock market trading. What can we do for people get benefited from investment in stock market? Dr. Ambedkar, when he came back in November 1923, when he got his when he came back in November 1923, initially for earning his day-to-day bread and butter, he tried many things. He actually started a firm in the advisory firm, in the consulting firm in the stock market, but that failed because the moment they came to know his cause, nobody would come to take his advice. So let's not go into that. But he tried many things. He taught in Batley Boy and many other small places before he could get a decent job. So he was working very hard to make the two ends meet. Vaibhav Ghodeswar.
Last question.
Yeah.
Almost time up.
Okay. We have to finish now. Vaibhav Ghodeswar is saying how much importance there is for existentialism in Ambedkarism. My goodness. I don't think I'm capable of answering that question. But as far as Ambedkarism is concerned, I think it relates to your existence and my existence as human beings. And that is why, in a strange sort of way, it encompasses your existence and mine. And let's not forget that. That was the last question. I'm sure many more questions are there and many more people are waiting to ask questions. But we are going to stop here now. And surely in few days we'll have yet another session. But before I close, before I thank all of you, let me share a very good news at a personal level. My daughter Apurva, who is PhD doctor, one who is in Washington DC, she delivered twin babies, a boy and a girl, in Washington DC on 15th February. And I thought I would like to share this good news with all of my friends on Facebook Live. So see you soon. Good night, friends. I'll meet you very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.